Hello. It's day 11 of programming every day until I get a full-time job. Um, Today we're gonna be no face cam today. The next couple of episodes are gonna be kind of weird because I'm gonna be traveling. So sometimes I might have a face cam, sometimes I might not, and I probably won't be talking in the videos coming up. But I'll make sure to type my thoughts out when I need to, stuff like that. But today I'm gonna change up what we've been doing and go back to the rectangle shit, right? Because wow, whatchamacallit, the I have a flight tomorrow, right? So I'm gonna be doing, or yeah, tomorrow's episode on the flight and stuff like that. So I feel like for the editor, I kind of get what's going on now. So I can probably implement a bunch of other normal mode stuff with the cursor pretty easily. Not easily, but way I won't have to look up stuff as much, right? And but for the rectangle shit, right? This is just this isn't really doing anything right now, but eventually we'd want kind of these rectangles with these um, titles of notes and projects here, right? So where is to do rectangles with text rendered in them from list. So I'd want a list somewhere in the code, right? And with that list, I would have just 4, 5 strings. And I'd want the rectangles to display each string, right? So it's so much different. I haven't seen this in a while. Okay, so how do if I want to render text, first I need to make git checkout editor. Font is equal to you can't do that. There, so Ubuntu font. This is the font I want for hold up, I'll be back. All right, I'm back. I just moved the shit here. So the font path would be probably this one. Oh yeah. Okay, nice. Okay. So how was I rendering? Okay, width, height. Display, set mode. Height, make that. Get the background. Fill the background. What is x? X is width divided by 2 minus 50. So, what's that? 350, 300. And y1 round. Oh, x is just where, x is like the middle, right? Because all the rectangles are in the middle. So x is what defines this. It's probably minus 50 to shift it over. So it's centered. And y2, or all the y coordinates are just wherever they need to be, right? And then I have an array of rectangles. We draw the rectangles to the background. And the first one is red because, yeah, that makes sense. And okay. Bro. Nice. I forgot how much order matters here, bro. Okay, so um string list. Heck. So that's 100 by 100. Let's do this is good. So 600 by 50. Or I guess the only thing that matters is the 50. X is okay. I'm hard coding those. Now I need text inside these rectangles, right? Oh, fuck. Excuse me. I'm thinking, didn't we split a surface, which is text, onto rect? Let me play with this real quick. This shit was like so awesome. Dude, that's so awesome. What's printing? um, git add git commit no more print git checkout main. Oh. Excuse me. I should start like adding this to my GitHub too, no? Like, why haven't I done that? Bro. Hold on, I'll be back. Alright, what? I don't think that will change anything. That did change something. But it's not rendering the text. Okay. Nice. Oh, Loki just did that, no? Am I done? Nah. Nah. How do I center the text in every rectangle? Mm. Screen uplit cursor on a specific location. How do I center it? Like each thing would be slightly, like I would have to calculate the position because each string is like a different length, right? So if I want all of them to be centered, I would have to calculate it somehow. Pygame. The dest argument can be either a pair of coordinates representing the position of the upper left corner of the blit or a rect, where the upper left corner of the rectangle will be used as the position for the blit. How to blit in Pygame, but not on the upper left spot. Square rect, square surface dot get rect. Okay, just read the snippet. Import Pygame. Screen width equals that. Screen height is that. Display mode, blah blah. That is 100. We create a surface with pygame.surface and we fill it in to be red while it's running. Quit if it's quit. Clear the screen. So we make the background blank. Blit the square at a specific position. Dude, I don't know if it's because I'm like super hungry, but like I just actually don't get it right now. We get the rect. make the center of the screen. You put the square onto the rect. Since this is centered, this would be centered. Okay, it's not what we want. In Pygame, how can I blit something to a rect? That's what I'm doing, right? How can I blit a surface to a rect, but the surface gets blitted to the center of the rect and not the top left? To blit a surface to the center of a rect, you need to compute the top left corner of the surface such that it is centered within the rect. Surface, rect, the rectangles. Surface dot center. Surface rect. The surface dot get rect. Get the rect of the surface. Surface rect dot center is equal to rect dot center. Surface rect dot center is equal to rect dot center. Yeah, I don't know, chat. Not trolling here. Actually trolling, bro. Bro, tuple versus tuple. Okay, well, I was just pulling shit out of my ass. That wasn't like good poop, bro. Surface rect to surface dot get rect. Print rect dot center. Center axis rect dot center. Bro. Don't think this is right. Holy fuck, I'm a genius, bro. Holy fuck. Okay, I'm not a genius, this is just a vision, but fuck yeah, dude. Okay. So what I did was, like before, when I called it to just center, it would place the top left coordinate of the surface, which is the rendered text, onto the center of the rectangle, right? And that what that would cause is, since we're putting the top left of something on the center of something else, it would be shifted right and down slightly, so it wouldn't actually be centered. So instead, I'm just calculating the actual center, which is like the center of the rectangle minus like half of the surface, right? Because that would mitigate that shift. So I do that in both X and Y, and then I just split it on the new center, right? Let me. Right. Okay, that's pretty good. So Now what? So now the 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 y's are hard coded, right? Like completely. Like the x is fine being hard coded because like we would always pick a center, and okay, the x is only fine being hard coded until we until if slash when we add like resizability, but I don't even know if I'm gonna do that yet. I might, but that's like a reach feature, right? There's other things, like I want, the most important thing for me is get like all the screens working and synchronized. Like say this is a file, right? Hello is a file, and I press enter and then it brings up the editor of that file, right? So like making sure the whole app kind of functions is like step one. And then step two is, if you guys have ever used this ChatGPT, like this thing, right? It's like, what is my shortcut for it? P? No. Or even like Raycast, right? Like I want a keyboard shortcut where I press it and my editor just pops up to the front of the screen, because it's supposed to be like for my thinking, right? And for like my, it's not even project management, it's just like thinking through tasks and stuff, right? Because Obsidian, it's like annoying. It's getting kind of annoying. It's not even that annoying, but it's like it would be cool to have my own thing to do the thing I always do. I think that would be pretty awesome. So, what was I even? So now that we have that, dynamically positioning the rectangles Y chord. And like, okay, it's not even positioning as much as it is just like creating all of them, right? Because like when the screen would pop up, like once our app has a way of understanding the file structure that it's in, file, folder, whatever I make it, I'm leaning more towards just like a bunch of files with underscores or hashtags as the what you call it, the presence of a hashtag in a file path means that it is a sub note, right? If there's a note with no hashtag, that means that's like the project itself, right? And if there is a note with a hashtag, that means it's a like one level deep into that project and whatnot. But I'll figure that out when I get to that part. So hold up. All right, I'm back. Break. Okay, so dynamically positioning the rectangles, mainly focusing on the y coordinate. So, what does that mean? That means instead of like hard coding, okay, one's gonna be here, one's gonna be there, one's gonna be there, like we would just take in the list of strings slash files, file names. So this, right? And then we would do like for every string in that, we would construct these rectangles, right? So okay. Top equals 15. For file and string list. We would y is equal to round height times top. Rex that new rect is equal to pygame rect x y rect width rect height is equal to 50 rect height rex dot append new rect and top plus equals 0.1 for rect and rex pygame dot draw dot rect background for rect I rect and rate x if I equals 0 background red rect else pygame dot draw rect background black rect. Nice. So if I just add more things, Bro, why did I say that? Peter Gunn. We love Peter Gunn. Nice. Okay, so now I gotta change the navigation stuff too. So cur is less than high. It's high. High is equal to land x. Right? Oh. X minus 1. There. Nice. Okay. So what that simulates is getting a bunch of strings from, like, however you do ls in Python, and then say these are all projects, and we press enter, right? We would go to that that list of files or whatever. So so that leads us to another problem, right? And this problem is I'm trying to think if I know the word to what I'm trying to describe. Viewport. Yes. I'm actually, yeah. So the viewport, which is basically like, what if there's like 24J, 48K, right? Fart butt, Rick and Morty, American Dad, Simpson. Like, there could be more notes than there are number of notes that are visible at this on the screen at a certain amount of time, right? Like here, right? Like we kind of run out of the space that we're we run out of space to show everything that we need to show, right? So to get around this problem, we would have to dynamically like show which ones we need to show, right? So if we're on, say, American Dad, right, and we go down, like for scrolling purposes, I think what would happen is everything would shift up like one bit, right? So what happens if I up the text font, text size, R4. Nice. I kind of like the size of the text. Okay, so we would also shift stuff up if possible. do some math, maybe not. Okay, so how would we calculate how many things are visible, right? So it would be the height minus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Max number visible is equal to, how would I calculate this? It would be this whole area, right? Huh? I'm thinking. Let's do this for now. So there can only be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 visible projects at a time, right? And 9 is equal to height divided by this plus this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So what is the height of a rectangle? The height of a rectangle is 50 and max number visible is equal to height minus height. Is this integer division? Integer division Python. Yeah, okay. Height divided by rect height plus wouldn't this be I kind of like how this looks too. What about, I'm getting distracted here, but I'll say, yeah, this would probably be good because then in here, like this one wouldn't be there, right? So, yeah, okay, that's fine. So what would the answer be? The answer would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The answer would be 8. And it would be 8 is equal to height divided by rectangle height plus plus 0.1 times height. Print max number visible. I think this should be, actually I don't know what this should be, bro. Max. Okay, I did the math fucking wrong. Shouldn't be that. This is going to be even less than 5. Yeah. So, okay, what is actually going on here? So we have our height, right? And we place our first rectangle 15% down from the height, right? And every other rectangle after that, oh, it's because it's like the top, fuck. It's like, it's something because the, like this space right here isn't the actual, like that's not 0.1, right? I think it's either like from here to here is 0.1. I think that's what it should be. Right? Fuck, I don't want to just hard code it and then do it because I want to figure this out. So it's 8, right? 8 is equal to height Dude, I actually feel so dumb. Like, this is just like division, no? Okay, so I think this part is right, I think, because we immediately cut out 15% of the height to render the rest of the things, right? So divided by rect height. I know it's not just rect height, right? Because that doesn't take into account the gaps, but it would be rect height
plus plus 0.1 times height I was like, this is what I was thinking, but that immediately means it's just that, right? Is it really just that? Okay. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. Like I got to it and it made sense, right? It would have been like that plus that minus. It would have been the height of a rectangle plus like 1% of the total height minus the rectangle again, right? So like I got to this logically, but it's still like, it's not like, it doesn't make like intuitive sense still, but whatever. Okay, so now we have the maximum number of visible rectangles, right? So now we can only show in that range. So where is that? For S and for I in range. Can I just enumerate it? No. Range max number visible. Max number visible is equal to int max number visible. Right. S is equal to string list I, and then we would render it, right? So this should just render okay. The problem is that we're also making still making the rectangles, right? So where are the rectangles coming from? for I in range max number visible. I haven't even like used file anywhere here. What the heck? Now this should be okay.
Nice. So now that we have that, excuse me, we need to if we're at the last one, we would scroll down, and show any ones below that, right? So, fuck. This makes it so hard. Annoying. What information would we need? We would need all possible like note names. Info, we need all possible note names. Right? And we technically wouldn't need like the same number of rectangles as there are note names, because we should be able to recycle those rectangles and just use the same rectangles to display different texts if we need to, right? So, and we need to know it's kind of like a sliding window from like leak code problems, right? Where like we need to know like this is a window of possible values. So we need the size of that window, which we already have. We need size of visible window. So currently these are both things that we already have, which is good. And not only do we need the size of the window, it's more important that we have the indices of the visible notes. We have the indices of the highest and lowest visible note. We need the indices of the highest and lowest visible note, right? Because if we have this one, and we go here and we attempt to go down, and we would check, are there any more left? And if there are, then we would shift this index down or up, or like however you want to see it. Like this is down, we would shift this one down to, right? Because then this would be the one like American Dad, Rick and Morty, Fart Butt, blah, 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 right? So that's what we would need to do. And this is important because like we need this pretty much the same functionality in our editor portion too, right? Because like I don't plan for the the window to be like as big as obsidian, right? It may be wider a little bit, but it's not going to be like the whole screen size, right? So, now what? Okay, what information do we need? All possible note names, indices of the highest and lowest visible note. So, visible note low is equal to 0. Visible note high is equal to max number visible minus 1. Right? So, and then all string list would be this. This would be the indices of the highest and lowest note, right? So now what would the logic be? The logic to go to scroll up and to scroll down. Scroll logic. So when we go down, right? If the index, so currently, right, there's just like a hard check somewhere where J, if cur is less than or equal to high, what's high? Length rect minus 1. So that would change, because now we're not just working on or working with what's visible, we're also working with things that aren't visible yet. So if we go down, we check I think we'd have to check if there are more notes. So this would be like length strings or whatever, length files or whatever, right? We'd have to check if we are at the end of the viewport. And if we are at the end of the viewport, then we would shift now these are flipped. We would first check if we are at the end of the viewport, and then if there are more notes and strings, we update the indices of what is visible. Update indices of what is visible, right? And then we would re-render what should render. And then with K, we would, same thing, right? Check if we are at the end of the viewport. Like this one, right, is like when
we're at the bottom and we see if there are more. But what if we're at the top and there's more above us? We would have to compare check if there are more notes. We would compare the index of the strings list that we are on. So we would compare the index of the visible of the viewport, to compare the first and the start index. Compare start index of visible window to 0 now, because 0 is like the start. 0. And if we can move, update indices of what is visible. Under render, not just render now, render new visible portion. Okay. Check if we're at the end of the viewport. So that's kind of what we're already doing, right? Oh shit, I have it. So by going down, like the high is equal to the length of visible rectangles, right? -1. So that is our viewport, right? So here, like not only would we draw stuff red and black, we would also update what is possible to be rendered, right? And the reason this logic might be a little freaky to do. Fuck me, bro. Sorry, sometimes I just like zone out. Excuse me, bro. Fucking samosa, bro. Nope. Nope. Okay, so let's start writing, converting logic to code now. Check if we are at the end of the viewport. Check if there are more notes, length strings. So we would need to update the logic for, I kind of said this, but I'm going to say it again, the logic for our movement as well as the logic for rendering stuff, right? So I think first I'm going to update the logic for rendering stuff because we will know if it works if the same behavior as we currently are happens, right? Because we're not updating the indices of what's visible and what's not visible. But if we do that first, right, and then we fuck with the logic over here, then we'll know if it works if we're rendering the proper things, right? And this was so yesterday, like this is what I did wrong at one point because like I had the logic like it wasn't working right, but the logic wasn't working. I know, fuck, how do I say this? I couldn't tell if the problem was that the logic wasn't working or the rendering wasn't working, right? So we just gotta do the rendering part first because it'll make our life easier in like 10 minutes, 20 minutes whenever I finish it. So currently we put the background, and then for every surface in the project surfaces list, which is, where is that? Project. So this part is wrong, right? Because we want project surfaces to have all potential surfaces, right? So instead of this, I wish I could just undo this part, right? But it's probably like so far up that tree. For S in string list. I think it was just that, right? Yeah. Okay. Project surfaces, and I think how zip works is it goes until one of these finishes, right? So since we have this, right, it'll always finish then. So for for I in range, did I make those variables? Visible note, hello. So let's just make visible low and high. Python range function. It's like I always forget with the things where like it's like it's off by one or two. I always forget, bro. Start, stop, step. Start value, stop next value after the end value of the sequence. Zero, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0 to okay. I in range, visible, low, visible, high. Bro. Okay, so before we change anything, like let me understand what we're doing beforehand, right? So for a surface and a and a rectangle at the same index, we're going to get the rectangle of that surface, and then we're going to calculate the center of the rectangle that we're iterating/zipping over, right? And once we get that center, we just split that surface onto that place, right? Okay, so for I and the surface is equal to project surfaces I, right? And then rect is equal to rex I. And then the rest is the same, potentially? No, it's tweaking out a little bit. Why is it tweaking out? I don't think this will work because, okay, I'm wrong. Why did that work? Why didn't this work in the first place? So visible high is equal to max number visible minus 1. Oh, because it's minus 1. We don't need to do that, right? But why did we still get the rectangle? Because these are the same indices, right? So why I would expect this rectangle not to be rendered at all either, right? Wouldn't it make sense for just nothing to render, right? Why is it rendering there? Time to delete those. Rect is rect's I, right? Is it because how we're rendering it? Oh, it's because this, right? It's the where is it here? Now it shouldn't. Bro, what the heck? Okay, so here we're ranging over 8. Right? Is that why? I think that's why. Okay, that's why. And here, since there's 8 and then we draw it here, right? That's why it was rendering an extra rectangle, because we were creating an extra rectangle and just drawing it at the start, right? And we never re-put the background, but we kind of do. But I think because we draw it onto the background, I think that's why. So these you can cancel. Should be 8 rendered rectangles, right? Okay. So now we have that. So, oh fuck. Hold on, give me 1 sec. Oh, the Robinhood, no, not the Robin, the Figma IPO has initialized. I can buy it. Should I buy it? I think I probably will buy it. Fuck me, bro. Okay, so now we need to, where's J, where's K? Here. Current is less than high. So this is cursor stuff. Right? Now, what was it again? Check if there are more notes. If, no, but how, it's not just that there are more notes. Okay, check if we are at the end of the viewport, right? Like this doesn't check if we're at the end of the viewport. This just checks is like, can the cursor move down? Meaning, is the index of the cursor either less than this number or greater than this number, right? For J and K respectively. So I don't know if I do it in that if statement. Check if we are at the end of the viewport. So how? Cur. If cur is equal to high minus 1, right? Because that means we are at the last possible print. Yahoo. Warp. Line 82. Expected an indented block. Oh, because I didn't save it. Yahoo? No. What? Does cur start out as? Cur starts out as 0, high. Okay. Cur is equal to high. Visible star, visible low plus equals 1. Visible low plus equals 1. Visible high plus equals 1. Right? And if cur is equal to low, visible low minus equals 1, visible high minus equals 1. So this should shift to goodbye. 102 rex I. 102. Oh, good guess. And the reason that that happens is because I is for that, not, okay, so counter is equal to 0, counter plus equals 1, counter. Nice. Yeah, why isn't Simpson rendering? Was it? No, it only is going up to American Dad. So string list. What if we're not actually getting not actually creating all the surfaces that we need to be creating? So s and string list. Print string surfaces project surfaces. Okay, so print length strings is equal to length project surfaces. Strings may be undefined. String list. True. Okay, so it is the same amount. Then current is equal to high. So print how. Should how. So after, like right now, when I'm on the end, it's no longer printing how. So once we're already here, like once we get here once, right, we can't get here again, logically. So do we shift these outward? Yes, we do. Whoa. Wait, that was actually so cool. Like, I did not expect that. Whoa, it's like a little cycle, bro. Okay. I think that's where check if we are at the end of the viewport. don't think this is it. This is just like a Hail Mary, lazy guess. Yeah, nah, that just... The fuck?
So cur is high, meaning that if we're at the end of the viewport, that's what this line is doing, right? And then we have to check if there are more nodes. How do we do that check? If visible low, visible low, visible high is less than or equal to, and what's the max? It would just be length project surfaces, I think, right? And cur is equal to low if visible low is greater than equal to 0. Like this doesn't make sense to me yet. Like I just wrote this because it's the opposite of this, right? So if we're at the end of the viewport, meaning our current pointer is at the highest possible rectangle it could be. It's kind of weird saying that because the highest is visibly the lowest, right? But if it's there, and if the visible high, meaning with the highest slash lowest visible, the lowest visible note is less than the amount of total notes that we have, then we can shift down, right? If the I don't think it's equal, bro. What the fuck am I doing? I don't think it's equals to, because that would mean if it is 0, then go down, right? I don't think we would want that. So, nice. I was right. Fuck yeah.
Okay. And this logic will be useful for the editor as well, because it's like the same freaking thing. Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing, right? Or same concept, that there's a window of visible stuff, and that goes throughout the actual the total stuff that there are, right? So, heck yeah, bro. So what's left in this project? The entire back-end portion has not been done yet, and the editor is like 20% done, right? But I think I'm good. Like I'm happy with what I've done today. I kept adding more stuff to do. It's because like this shit actually did not take me that long to do. So, but now I feel like, okay, I'm done. Sure. feet. Scroll through notes projects. All right, bye bye.